Hey guys, my girlfriend only gave me 15 minutes to record this quick video for you before she drags me out of the room and gets me to come to some random stand up show um, in London. In the meantime, in the next 15 minutes or so, what I want to do is show you the most powerful workflow, in my opinion, the most underrated workflow inside of Clay that you can basically copy and paste across every individual company in the world and you would still generate leads. So I don't know why I'm giving it away for free, but once again, hopefully this lives up to the hype, and if it does, please let me know. So here's the exact workflow, and here's what we're going to do. So we're going to scrape people that follow your competitors on LinkedIn. So let me get that straight. So anyone that follows your competitors on LinkedIn, we will scrape them. So we will know everything about them, right? Where they live, their maiden name, their zodiac sign, absolutely everything, right? After that, we'll qualify them for your ideal client profile. So we'll see, do they have the right job title? Do they live in the right country? And all of that boring stuff to make sure that they fit your ICP. Then, on the basis of all of this information, we'll then create personalized outreach messages at scale for all of these people, right? And essentially, there are two ways to go about it. I'll talk to you about what not to do. And this is something that came, like one of the students from the course actually told me about this technique, and it's just silly in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. So you could try and scrape it yourself, and you could use a LinkedIn scraper like this one called Vane, and you could probably get by and scrape company followers. But that would be limited to just 2,500 profiles per day. And after you qualify all of these followers, you will basically find that out of 2,500, maybe only 200 of them fit your ICP. So it's basically a waste of time because in most cases you will get 1 in 500 to reply, meaning that you get zero leads from this type of campaign. So do not try to scrape LinkedIn followers yourself because at the time of the recording this, it's just not possible. LinkedIn has a really bad cookie policy. And if you're not familiar with cookies, it's basically the whole idea that um, as soon as it understands that you're trying to scrape LinkedIn, you're screwed. Your account can get blocked. And trust me, like I don't want you to end up in prison just because of, trying to set up a Clay campaign. Anyways, next up, I'm going to show you the solution to all of this. You will basically go to Scrapely, scrapely.cloud. It will be linked down below underneath the video, wherever you're watching it. You will click on the start button and you can click on instant price. Over here, you can copy and paste the company page of your competitors or of your clients' competitors. So, for example, if I run HubSpot as the CRM, I will go and find Salesforce, and I will copy and paste their LinkedIn company page. I will then specify how many followers I would need in total and fill in all of this boring stuff. And straight away, at that moment in time, they should they should basically give you a quote for how much it will cost you. Now, this is the first option, and then they will email you with a quote. You pay for the service, and then they basically give you an output, and the final output is something like this, which is going to be basically the details of every single person that follows a specific company. And you would see over here the competitor. So basically, like the competitor here is Clay, so we can find anyone whose followers they scraped here, right? And of course, you input this data into Clay. So that's the first way you can do. You can do this thing. However, from my experience of working with the founder of this company, they're a lot faster to reply through direct messages. So all you have to do is basically send him a message being like, hey, can you scrape the 20,000 followers of this specific company, copy and paste the company URL. He will send you a quote. As soon as he sends the quote, he'll send you a payment link afterwards if you want to proceed with it. You can pay via Stripe. You can pay via, I don't know, like literally anything. Apart from crypto, probably, but I don't know. And you can basically pay for the services, and he will then send you the URL link. So the URL link would look something like, well, as I mentioned here, like he will basically give you a quote, and then finally he will then export and send you, the completed sheet with all the information of people. Now, whilst you're watching this as well, bear in mind that if you message him directly, he might give you a discount because you came through me. So once again, I don't really get kickback because they don't have a automated affiliate link or anything like that. But just in case, mention you came from Tim's Clay course, he'll probably be like, oh, cool, I'll give you a discount, because that's what I asked him to do with all the students. So essentially, as soon as you have all of that sorted, you will have an Excel sheet. You will import it inside of Clay, and it would literally look like this. So you'd basically have a bunch of people, and you would be thinking, what the hell do I do with these people? What do I say to them? And where do I even get started? So this is what I would do in that position. First of all, I will draft an email template before even entering the Clay sheets. So specifically in this case here, This is what my template would look like in 99% of cases. So, hey, first name, saw you follow this company, and I'm going to take a wild guess that you are, and then you will have a pain point, and this pain point is the pain point that this company solves. So, for example, hey, saw you follow B2B Boosted. I'm going to take a wild guess that you struggle to generate leads, or like you're struggling to use Clay, or some random stuff like that. And then at that moment in time, this will be your kind of soft pitch, which is like, oh, I hate to be that guy, but I found a way to automate your client onboardings and generate 3 leads every week consistently on complete autopilot. Can I send it over? Simply say yes, and I will send them across. Now, at this moment in time, you're probably thinking, yeah, but you want to book in demos with these guys. Why the hell would you have a transactional message like this, which is like top of funnel heavy, meaning that it only generates, leads, but it doesn't necessarily generate a meeting out from this lead straight away. And the reason is simple. If you watched any videos from me in the past, you would know that asking for a meeting up front is what idiots do in 2024, 2025, 2030, whenever you're watching this, right? So my point being, instead, we need to think of a lead magnet, or we need to think of some sort of problem. A lot of the time, I like the idea of drop shipping this message, which means that you say, hey, can I send it over? Simply say yes, and I'll send it across. In reality, you will just pick up every reply manually, and you will try and reply manually with some sort of value. Now, the reason you would do that is because you can then, on a case-by-case basis, adapt the messaging and adapt your service to each individual client, right? So this is one way to do it. But you will definitely basically validate that a person has a specific pain point. And if that's the case, then they probably likely fit your ideal client profile. Now, you can do all sorts of messaging templates and stuff, but for the purpose of this, I'm just going to show you how to send a really standard message like this. In this case, I'm trying to sell my Clay course really desperately, as you can probably tell. And I want to send this specific message, which is like, hey, saw you follow Clay. I'm going to take a guess that you're fed up of wasting credits inside of Clay. I found 7 legal ways to save it. Can I send them over, right? I'm going to show you step by step how to go about this. But before that, we need to qualify the prospects. So the first step when we enter Clay is we need to qualify them for their ideal client profile, right? So the way we'll do that is if we go inside of Clay here and qualify, we can qualify based on industry. We can qualify based on like company headcount, and then we can also qualify based on job title, right? Like in most cases. Of course, you can be as granular as you like, and once again, the AI module and all of the other modules should show you how you can use AI to analyze the profile and do all of that boring stuff. But across the board, you'll basically be looking at these 3 things majorly. So first of all, for the industry, you will need to determine that, let's say, like company is B2B. So like they don't sell directly to consumers, right? In other words, company headcount, let's say we want it to be less than 200. And then job title, we want it to be founder, C-level, or owner, or something like that, or director, right? Now, this is how we will start this exact workflow. So we'll go inside of the Clay table, and we'll bear in mind that the first qualifying criteria that we have is that the company is B2B, right? At that moment in time, we're going to basically find wherever the company URL is. So the company LinkedIn profile URL, which will be, let's find it, LinkedIn company URL here. We're going to then add an enrichment on the right of it. So we're going to click on add enrichment, and I'm going to type in lead magic, because of course, if you watched the previous module, you would know that when you enrich a company using lead magic, you would not spend any Clay credits, right? So you will then find a company URL, and then you can click on continue to add fields. And then at that moment in time, you can basically filter for employee headcount, right? At this moment in time, I'm not going to proceed. And then you can also get a company description for you to then be able to tell if the company is B2B or B2C. And let's say we pull out the industry as well. For the time being, I'm going to click on save and don't run. But before I do that, as always, I'm going to label it. So I'm going to say step 1, enrich company. And once again, I'm doing this so I remember later down the line why I'm doing it, right? So straight away, employee count, industry description, save and don't run. This means that we can come back to this action later and we wouldn't waste any runs on this in the meantime. Before that though, remember the first thing that we said is the first thing we need to do is make sure that the job titles are any of these. So once again, now I'm going to click on filters over here. I'm going to type in job title, and we're going to choose contains any of, and then I'm going to say founder, CEO, chief executive let's say co-founder, director. I mean, we could try going for senior roles as well, right? So we can go like senior and so on. I'm sure you get the idea. On top of that, if you want to filter based on industry, you can do that as well. And then you can just like send them different messaging based on different industries. The way you would go about that is if you go to the very right here, there should be an industry somewhere. So yeah, industry over here. And then let's say like if we want to just target recruiters, for example, we could click on default view in the top left-hand corner, click on duplicate view. And straight away we can type in here, recruiters, and filter basically same job titles because we want to get in touch with C-level. And then we're going to type in industry, and we're going to say contains any of recruit, staffing, or something like that. And we should see straight away that all of these will be, working for recruitment companies, hence their titles are those, and their industry over here is staffing and recruiting. And then you can send them a tailored message being like, hey, I've got a couple of workflows for recruiters, blah, 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 all of that stuff. So essentially, that's how I would go about it. And then if you want to come back to the other view, you will click on the toggle again, and you'll come back to the default view. This is how, like, the whole point of this toggle, by the way, just for context, I may have not clarified this earlier because Clay only released it relatively recently, is to segment the audiences. So you can segment it into recruiters, into founders, into sales reps, and they can all get a different message from you. So essentially, in this case, if we go back to the default view, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it across a couple of companies just to give you a better example of like what it would look like. Because of course, this is a demo video. I don't want to waste a bunch of Clay credits on it. So straight away, it finds the company, it finds how many employees it has, and what industry it's in. As soon as you do that, the first thing you can do is click on insert right, add enrichment, and straight away here, we can feed it a ChatGPT prompt and determine how many employees whether the company is B2B or B2C. If you type in B2B here, it should come up with classify a company as B2B or B2C. And then you will do this on the basis of the company description. So you'll basically select the description of the company, which we just found from using Lead Magic, and we'll save and run 10 rows. So in this case, we should start seeing any companies that are B2B or B2C, where it says company inputs. My bad. I didn't get anything wrong there, but basically, long story short, like you'd be fine if you copy and paste the template. But basically, now you can segment based on B2B or B2C, and straight away, you can basically just play around with that. And once again, if you want to filter just for B2B companies, you can then click on filters, add filter, and then type in company type response equal to B2B. So this way, you know that you're only reaching out to B2B companies, and you're not going to pitch your services to a B2C company. As soon as you have all of these individuals over here, you already understand. You can then also filter based on employee headcounts because this is something that we wanted to do to make sure that it's less than 200. So once again, we'll go to filter, we'll click on add filter, and we'll type in employee count. So I think it's over here. Is less than 201. The reason that we want to do 201 is so it still includes the 200. And straight away, we have all of this information, right? On the basis of this information, I mean, you can do quite a few things, but in simple terms, like the most simple thing that we can do here is copy and paste this entire template that we just wanted to send out to them. Click on actions, click on draft email, copy and paste it, type in, hey, replace it with a slash, first name, so you follow, Clay, and I'm going to take a wild guess that you are fed up of wasting Clay credits all the time. Sorry to be cheeky here, but I found 7 legal ways to save Clay credits. I bet you haven't heard of them yet. Can I send them over? Simply say yes, and I'll send them across. Also, you can put something else over here like RE Clay credits, because once again, like it's quite like people will resonate with whatever tool they're currently using in most cases. You can then click save and run rows. It'll run all the rows. On top of that, with the current personalizations that we've done, like, I mean, we can't really use it too much, But I can give you a couple of ideas of other things that we could use in the background, and I don't really want to spend too much time on this. So basically, other things you can do is you can click on find people at company. You can basically use both the find people at company by Apollo or the native inbuilt one by by Clay. And in this case, you can basically find a random salesperson who works at the company. So, for example, I'll type in sales, and at the bottom, I'll limit it to just one person. Limit one person. And I'm going to continue to add fields, and then I want to get their full name. And then let me just show you across one row here. What we can then do with that information, and this is another cool play. So you can see this guy, Tucker Gandhi, that works at this company. I can put in a PS line, something like PS, I think, and then select the dude's name. Would love the idea. And if I'm not wrong, email one here. Look at this absolute masterpiece. I think Tucker Gandhi would love the idea. Now, of course, there are hundreds of personalizations. You can use all sorts of crazy stuff here. But for the purpose of this campaign, so far, you basically learned how to scrape company followers, or like how to get them from a person that can scrape them for you. How you can then segment the audiences using the toggles here in the top left-hand corner. And you can basically switch between those. And then as the next step afterwards, you can click on whatever, add lead to campaign, and then automatically add them into campaign inside of Smart Lead or Instantly or whatever platform you're using. And obviously you're more than capable of doing this because you watched a bunch of other videos from the course already. If not, just check out a video. There is a video practically for most scenarios inside of Clay. Now, if you liked this video, please let me know, because bear in mind, oh crap, I've already done 17 minutes on this video just now. That means I'm 2 minutes over time to go to the stand-up show. And not only this, also the fact that I want to do more of those workflow build-outs. And for the purpose of me doing those workflow build-outs, I need to get some feedback on how useful they are and how actionable and practical they are. If you're not enjoying it, let me know and I'll reformat it, I'll improve it. So please do give me some feedback on this workflow. If you watched this far, I bet you have some feedback for me. So just send me a note, and bear in mind that out of the workflows that I've shared publicly already, there are probably about 10 or 15 at least that I can basically share with you. So if you want to see some other workflows, just shoot me a line and I'll be more than happy to film a similar video to this explaining how to do them. But in the meantime, happy, I don't even know what day it is today, but yeah, have a great time building out this workflow. If it's actionable, let me know. If it's not, let me know as well. Cheers, over and out.